Chapter 30. Some puns take a while to manifest. After some celebration, the party went straight into planning their next move. Sure, they had beaten the Pact Masters in open combat, and while they managed to kill one of them and held 3 more locked away somewhere deep beneath Saltspit, there were still 6 more of them alive, and most likely plotting a new way to get back at them. Both Hassan and Valinar argued that the most reasonable step was for the Pact Masters to use Katapesh's resources to undermine them somehow. Another direct attack was very unlikely, considering the STC was now in control of every single Elune the city had ever had, and that beside the city and Zephyr Guard, the Trade Nation had no proper standing army to speak of. Volgok deemed it a logical outcome and proposed to lay siege on the city and force the Merchant Court to submit and remove their support to the Pact Masters. Hassan also argued that it was possible for them to once more attempt to hire the help of devils, which, after all, they had defeated through a very circumstantial and unlikely to work again strategy. So they decided to prepare for both scenarios and began planning. The first thing they focused on was the eventuality of the devil mercenaries coming back, since it seemed both the quickest and most dangerous way in which the remaining Pact Masters could react to their defeat. Having seen what a few vials of mercurial water could do, Hassan figured out that a lot more of the same could effectively stop any army made out of evil outsiders. To that end, they moved their contacts and informants in order to hook up with someone who could make a pathway into the 7 mounting heavens of Celestia, from where the water in question originated. One such individual was found in Absalom, the city at the center of the world, to whom they offered ridiculous amounts of money, in exchange for the magical mirror he had that could be used to walk back and forth between the lowest level of Celestia, Luna. It so happens that all portals leading into Celestia do so precisely on the shores of the Silver Sea, an endless expanse of quicksilver waters that surrounds the base of the mountain. Hassan's plan was to use the mirror in order to pour a continuous stream of mercurial waters into Galarian, into a massive cistern they had ordered built using the old tunnels in the salt mines. However, since the portal opens specifically onto the edge, water doesn't just flow in. So they decided to hire some craftsmen from Alkenstar to get a pump system that could do the job. As previously mentioned, teleportation doesn't work in Alkenstar due to the city being in the middle of the Mana Waste, a huge expanse of anti-magic territory between Nex and Geb, resulting from the ancient war between those two nations. However, having the flying carpet made travel considerably easier, and within less than 2 days they were in the City of Invention. First thing was to revisit the golem purchase. "You know I love golems, but don't we already have almost 400 of those back home?" asked Valinar. "Yes, but those are brass golems. I need iron golems, like we ordered," answered Hassan. Valinar gave him an intrigued look. "Why?" "Because I need to put them in orbit." Hassan dramatically removed his eye patch, revealing his golden eye. "We will rule Katapesh, nay, the world, from the sky." I don't know if he had been planning it all along or not. I mean, yes, a lot of sessions had passed between Hassan getting his eye replaced by a gold replica and the one he had revealed in his orbital golem plan. But these guys tend to play like that. I guess it is the benefit of knowing our campaigns tend to last for years, so even the most far-fetched schemes can be brought into fruition eventually with enough patience. So, after a good 10-minute laugh, we all went along with the game. As it turns out, the craftsmen in Alkenstar had already gathered all the materials needed to build the golems when they first heard the news that payment was underway, but stopped production as soon as they were informed of the assault on the Golden Caravan. Hassan ordered the works to start at once, which wasn't hard once some good intimidation rolls and some sacks of gold were thrown in the face of the head craftsman. Payment would be secured this time by using the Alkenstari flying ships, and the STC would pay a 10% bonus to cover for the distress caused by the last instance. They were allowed to purchase 3 iron golems already built, which were meant to guard a vault and drummer, much to the complaints of the dwarf representative from said distant nation. Then came the matter of the mercurial pump system, which hydromechanics from Alkenstar could easily solve if they were handed direct access to the Silver Sea. The engineers made some quick schematics and calculated that if the celestial liquid behaved similar to actual water, and taking the size of the mirror into consideration, they could guarantee a flow of 2 cubic meters per second. That's about 550 gallons. So the party rented a skyship, loaded iron golems, the engineers, a working crew, and some ingots of anti-magic metal just in case, and headed back to Saltspit. I told them things would be calm for the next 2 months, so we fast-forwarded the events. Chapter 31. a matter of water. Construction of the mercurial pump went along nicely, though there had been some minor issues at first due to the constraints of sending the materials through the mirror. The engineers eventually figured out how to cut them down and rearrange them on the other side. A redundant pumping station was built on the shores of the Silver Sea along with the pipework necessary to carry the water, though it was left disconnected in order to have as much of the portal unobstructed for now. Once completed, only a single person would be able to pass through the remaining portal surface at the same time, the rest being used by the pipes. Tests showed that the mercurial water was lighter than regular water, so the pumps would be able to increase the flow by almost 30%. Some dredging had to be done to clear the area, disturbing some of the local wildlife, but besides some curious lantern archons and some adorable celestial bunnies, which were promptly caught and sold back in Saltspit as either exotic pets or rare delicacies. The works carried on without interruptions. On the other side, the cisterns had been completed, and Hassan had another one built just in case. It would be able to hold 27,000 cubic meters. And another pump station was built in order for mercurial water to be injected into a special pipe network that connected two spray towers placed in strategic locations around the city. The idea was that, should any kind of evil entity happen to pass by, the water cannons on these towers would be able to rain goodness all around. Rahim advised testing in advance, so they paid off some mercenaries to capture evil harpies and salamanders from the brazen peaks, as well as a mummy they dug up from the temple underneath. After showering them with mercurial water, they either turned good and started hugging everyone, or hissed in pain and melted down. In any case, it did exactly as advertised.